insurance broker here in the state of Texas. Just wanted to talk to you briefly today about insurance. I've talked to a lot of people, especially with their EAP plans with different employers across the United States. And one of the things is I found that people have different misconceptions about insurance, what they should have or not have. And many times they've been misguided or just not educated properly based on their specific situation and needs. So let's get right into it. So if you're thinking about canceling your insurance, don't. Before you do that, I would highly suggest talking to an insurance broker or an insurance agent, but someone who's been doing insurance for a while, who has your best interests at heart, who's also very responsive and communicates well with you and effectively. You don't want to deal with someone who is delayed, not getting back to you, have issues getting in touch with you, and just getting you what you need when you request it. And I'll get into that in a little bit. But essentially what you want to do is, so if you're in a particular tight situation, because I deal with a lot of people budgeting issues, concerns, whether they have $300,000 or more, or $500,000 in the revenue or income they make each year, to those who are literally making $25,000 a year and homeless, but they're working full time, just circumstances. Sometimes what people do is they'll cancel their insurance. I've seen them cancel their homeowners insurance. I've seen them cancel their renter insurance, and I've seen them cancel their auto insurance, among other insurances. But those are the top three that most people will have. And one of the things I found is they say, well, because of their situation got tight, they just dropped their insurance. Can't tell you how many people, especially during the pandemic, that was really hard, where they canceled their insurance, and I had a couple situations where they had a fire. And well, of course, they were displaced. One lady, she had several $1,000s in a bank account, but that went quickly because a lot of companies and those doing business, they see an opportunity, they're just going to take advantage of you, unfortunately. Where they can make more money, they do it. Where they have the leverage, they do it. Not everybody's like that. There's a lot of great business owners out there with high integrity, great character. But a lot of people, they've dealt with those challenges. So to protect yourself, always get a second opinion, get some guidance before you decide canceling or making any changes at all. It's best to talk to like someone like myself, a financial counselor who can guide you along and who's also licensed in the area to maybe give you some more guidance and assist you further, or someone where you're in your locale to help guide you. So let's talk about a renter's insurance. I talked to someone recently who the landlord, and there's a lot of landlords who owns properties and whatnot, and some of them don't even give anybody any guidance on having their own renter's insurance. Occasionally they do, but a lot of times people don't. And there's various reasons for that. But this last one where she told me the other week that her landlord said, you don't need it, I have renter's insurance. Well, guess what happened? I don't know what type of insurance he supposedly had in place or anything, was a part of that conversation, but long story short, when there was a situation that happened with the property, she had to move out. No coverage at all. And I believe this one was with the fire actually on the property she was renting. So there was no assistance. I said, did they try and offer anything at all to assist you? She said no. So she was out looking for help, looking for additional resources. So something that she could have gotten her own, not trusting the landlord and what they had or didn't have, because any insurance they have on their property going to cover themselves, right? And their property, any damage to their property. But as far as you go, as the customer, always carry renter's insurance if you're renting a property. I don't care if it's a house. I don't care if it's a condo. I don't care if it's even you're in a small room or you're in a small flat, someone has a standalone property. Always carry your own insurance. Reason being because insurance companies will reimburse you for things like food or damaged clothing, long as maybe there's certain fees that they'll advance up front, but they'll make sure if you're displaced because of fire, mold, some type of major flooding or pest. I've talked to a lady who actually with her situation where, man, it's terrible, but recently there was bats. Somehow it was just a slumlord property. They wouldn't fix anything as she requested, even though she had been paying her rent, and evicted her, and still wanted money. But because of the state they were in, the laws were more in the favor of the landlord. So terrible. And she had two young kids. So they were attacked by bats and had other creatures running around. And there would be droppings in the morning on like the kitchen, on the table, and things like that. So when that situation started to happen with her, she asked for help and saw what was going on. there was no help literally. And that's not the first time I've heard a discussing situation like that. It is what it is. So when she got displaced, she didn't have renter's insurance, so she couldn't get any assistance. So if you have a fire, there's mold, or pests start coming in a place it's uninhabitable, and you have someone come in, say from the city, and they verify it's uninhabitable, and you have to move out immediately for the safety of you and your children, your family, then having that insurance in place is a great thing, because trying to get renter's insurance or any type of insurance after a claim that could have been ideally covered will not be covered. You're on your own. So homeowners insurance, same thing. So there's things you can do. Sometimes people, what they'll do is, and renters insurance, by the way, again, that can be anywhere on average between $15 to $24 to $34 a month, just depending on the amount of coverage you're carrying for property, for liability, and being displaced and so forth. Homeowners insurance. So sometimes I've had people say, well, it's just too much, so they canceled it. They were trying to look for something else, but they canceled it. No, look for something else first, get quotes, find out who you can talk to who might have some opportunities or have the right carrier that fits the right risk appetite. And you might be that perfect risk appetite where they can give you better coverage for less. You never want to compromise what you need for coverage. Okay. So that's one thing you don't want to do. And on that note, I'll talk about more later, is doing insurance reviews. So never change your coverage either when you need to make changes and so forth until you've also done an insurance review, because with rebuild costs now going up 3-4 times what they were, and especially in certain locations, it's crazy. What might have cost $150,000 last year after the pandemic is costing $250,000, $300,000 in some case for rebuild costs. You're not looking at the market of the home, you're looking at rebuild costs. So the market value, what you think you might be able to get for it, and what people are willing to pay for it, whether it's worth it or not, those are two different things. Don't get those confused. And then also want to make sure you have where there's additional increase of rebuild costs, where it could be 10, 15, or possibly 20% add on a feature that you can have on your insurance policy. A lot of them will have a basic feature where it increases as there might be certain codes that change within the community and so forth. And that's where, if you have something like that happen, you just need to let your insurance carrier know, unless they already have someone verifying that and they send you a letter saying they're increasing certain coverages on your policy. Always do an insurance review at least once a year, or when you have a covered event. And I'll talk more about that later, but the whole thing about that is do not change your coverage or cancel your insurance coverage because things might costly. Well, what happened is, if you need to cancel it and find a better coverage, and I actually helped a buddy with this, where he was paying about $200 because initially when they got their home a few years ago, they actually, he said, we're paying about $200 too much because they just had the lender take care of everything. That means whoever they had a direct relationship with that agent, they got him some coverage. The agent got paid well, but he did a disservice to my buddy and his family. Of 5 were, needing at that time. And so I was able to save him about $200 a month and still maintain great coverage, and actually found him better coverage with the InsurTech company that I believe in. They do an excellent, great job. So he got covered and was happy, and also got a little gift as well, a little welcome gift. And that was through Hippo Insurance. So a great company. But anyway, this isn't an advertisement or anything for them. I'm just saying as an example, because they're a new InsurTech company that's really been growing and offering appetite and risk that they can take on for a lot of homeowners that some companies won't take. And then auto insurance. So I've had people cancel their auto insurance, and then what do you think has happened? They've gotten into an accident. That can be really frustrating because I love helping people. I hate when people have to owe money, they go in debt, and they have money they were saving, and then they had catastrophic events that, just life circumstance. Things are going to come up, whether it's in business and life, job, or whatever. Things happen. It's how we pivot. And so the good thing is I go out of my way to do what I can to help people. If I'm not able to assist my clients directly, then I look at who can connect them, who I can connect them with, and get them referred to a reliable source that I believe in, that I think will do an excellent job for them, where they put the customer first, they have great integrity, and they have the character to do what's right for the customer 100% of the time, even when, as I recently had a conversation, the agent doesn't get paid as much money. It doesn't matter. If I got paid only $100 per policy I worked on every day, Even if these people have $1 million in a bank account, that's not my concern. My concern is to mitigate risk for you and your family and to try and be preventative for you and foresee what we can as much as possible because life brings different things and you're not going to catch everything. So you do your best to package things in a way where um, you're aware of what's going on, cutting costs, making sure you have the right coverage in place. And also, lastly, real quick, is so what does insurance? Another thing I wanted to bring up real quick, whether it's homeowners insurance, whether you're moving from state to state, keep your insurance. Once you get settled, the insurance companies know how to take care of everything and send letters to um, another company, or if it's with the same company and it's going from state to state, interstate, then or interstate, depending on the location where you're at. They know how to take care of certain things. You just need to give them the information that where you're based on and your new location. So when it comes to canceling an insurance policy, you do not have to wait because you got it bundled. That's false. That is not true. You can still stay with the same insurance company, but when you find a new policy with a new company, for example, homeowners, the lenders, what they'll do, there's certain forms and there's certain numbers out they'll get for your account information for that particular mortgage. So if you own a mortgage, obviously, right, then they'll need that information for the escrow and so forth. And they'll need the contact information of the lender, the name, the phone number, basic information on the property, the address, your name, contact information, and so forth. And what they'll do, they'll contact your lender for that specific property. They'll pull the information, they'll communicate. So if there's any unearned premiums for the homeowner's insurance that say you paid out, say $300-400, maybe you paid up for the year, an extra $1,000, that money will be refunded to you. If you want to check, it'll be refunded to you at some point once the two insurance companies, the lender and insurance company that you're with, talk. And when that happens, then you'll get your money back. So don't worry about if you've already paid something up front and you're thinking, man, well, I haven't finished out my time. No, the insurance companies will take care of that. Make sure you get your money for any unearned premiums. Okay. Um, and then same thing with auto insurance, the same thing. Don't cancel your policy until after you've gotten a new policy. You got that in place, you've gotten a quote. And you can tell them, same thing with homeowners insurance, same thing with renters insurance. It could be motorcycle insurance. It doesn't matter. You can let them know when you want that policy to start. If you want to go back in arrears a couple weeks and grandfather it to say it's the 15th of August. Today is actually the 28th of August. Say you want to go back to the initial coverage starting on August 1st, as an example. So you can tell them when you want that to have been instituted. As long as there's no claims that you have filed or an accident or anything during that time, because it will not be covered. Only for covered events under an active insurance policy will be covered. So anyway, that's just a little bit I wanted to share on that. It's important to make sure you always have some type of insurance coverage. There's PIP insurance coverage. We'll talk about that more later because what I'll be doing over the next several weeks and months is breaking certain things down more. I'm going over some concise tips, giving you what the terminology is, what it means, and how that might be beneficial to you. But it's not in every state like the PIP that I mentioned, personal insurance protection. That's a little bit different policy. You don't need it if you have comprehensive insurance, but if you don't need comprehensive insurance, that's something you might be able to get in about 30 something states across the United States. That is something good to have if you can afford or don't need a full coverage comprehensive policy, depending on the type of vehicle you have, um, your the year of vehicle, how old it is or how new it is, and also your current financial situation. So there's different things you need to factor in, and a good agent who's aware of that. Like I said, I'm a general lines agent here in the state of Texas, licensed, but also I'm a certified financial health counselor. So I have a perspective as well as my own experiences dealing with financial challenges and overcoming them and strategies as well. Because life's going to bring things at you. It's not that they won't come. It's just like in baseball. I used to play baseball. You have your catcher's mitt, so when that ball does come, you're always ready and alert to be able to catch it. And then what do you do with it? It depends on where your man is on first base, second base, third base, or not throwing those long balls from the outfield. You're going to throw it home if you got an arm. Anyway, until next time, this is a little bit of tip from Unwind Financial. Thank you so much for joining me, and have a blessed day. If you want to learn more, you can email me at info@unwindfinancial.org if you have specific questions. You want to know more about my services and want to go ahead and sign up, then you can go to my website at unwindfinancial.org. That's unwindfinancial.org. Thank you so much, and I look forward to bringing you some more tips education and resources and ways to support you, your family, your business, and your future. Thank you, and God bless.